My name is Michael Keating. I'm a Senior Consulting Fellow at Chatham House, and it's my privilege to be talking to Orzala, who is doing a PhD in the UK at the moment, and was between 1999 and 2007 the director of the Humanitarian Assistance for Women and Children organization in Afghanistan. You're an activist and a thinker, and we're really delighted to have you with us today. Do you think there are lessons being learned about how the international community has been supporting the women's movement and efforts to protect rights and encourage economic empowerment?
One issue I look at this whole level of assistance that is coming by international community, specifically focusing on women's issues, but also in general we can say, is that there are two groups of people. One group see everything so glorious and so wonderful. They always continue to highlight the achievements. We had achievements, there is no doubt. And you have another group that is completely refusing, and they are arguing that actually nothing has been done. In my opinion, none of these are a realistic picture of what's going on the ground. In my view, we have not done enough in terms of lessons learned. There are a huge level of corruption, there are a huge level of inefficiency and ineffectiveness of the different development and program interventions in Afghanistan. And for the reason that we wanted to please the donors, we ignored the shortcomings of these programs. We, for example, specifically when it comes to women's rights, we have made an assumption, probably media played a role in this assumption, that the only enemy of women's rights and women's gender equality in Afghanistan are the Taliban. And this is not a realistic picture. There is no doubt that the Taliban or people with Taliban mentality have a dominant view in terms of subordinating women. But they are not the only ones. We have within the system forces and groups, whether in the parliament or in the government or even in our own communities, who are thinking not entirely and dramatically different than an average so-called Talib. And that needs to be tackled. The focus of the international support and development should be more on the structural causes of the discrimination against women rather than just short-term approaches that will have less results.
And the fight for women's rights in Afghanistan is actually at least 100 years old and began a long time ago.
Absolutely. This is one of the strong arguments or stance that I have been taking, that we cannot have this very short-term approach of thinking or imagining that everything dramatically changed in Afghanistan in the post-2001. Particularly when it comes to women, there is no doubt that in the post-2001 situation, the women's emancipation or women's liberation became a kind of a slogan to justify the war. But then if you look at the particular history of women's rights or women's political role or public role, it goes back all the way to the 20th century and the discussions and debates that were there at that time.
But it's unfortunate in a way that women's rights has been very politicized. I mean, first under the communists it was politicized, and then arguably the Taliban have sort of, maybe they wouldn't see it, but politicized it. I mean, maybe depoliticization is one of the things that's needed.
I'm not sure to what extent can we depoliticize. Women in Afghanistan, like women all over the world, I look at the history of women in different parts of the world, whether Islamic countries or generally other countries, and they have all gone through quite a similar processes. And I think we are also into that. We are not aliens. And I have serious problems with people who consider Afghanistan as the graveyard of empire, as this place who don't like state, who don't like democratization process. I think these are very problematic understanding of Afghanistan. Afghanistan and the people of Afghanistan are proving time and again the fact that they are part of this globe. They want to change, they want to have better life, and so are the women. Women are interested and they are aiming to take part in all political processes, and they have to be considered to be given that kind of opportunity and rights.
Are there activities that have been more successful than others in terms of helping women find equality and achieve their full potential.
One of these examples are organizations that are focusing on long-term development, that are focusing on community and rural development. They have taken a different approach of basically focusing on providing services. Their focus is definitely on women's rights, but they have also provided services generally for the communities, meaning empowering men as well as women. So these are things that we have learned historically from those experiences. In the PDPA time, that was not the case. The communist era was specifically a time where you had a very radical form of reform in the villages, which was strongly rejected by the communities, in fact, in those years. But today, such kind of resistance is not seen. What I'm finding from some of my own research is basically showing that to a large extent there has been an openness among the communities for the conditionalities that, for example, some of these central government and international institution interventions in the local level are like carrying out. So they have accepted the conditionality of including women in their programs, and that tells us something very important, and that is, contrary to what media is explaining, the fact that the people of Afghanistan are ready to make women part of the political decision making, even at the very local level.
Thank you very much, Orzala. Thank you.
Thank you.